And I think that's the reason why when a lot of people say, well, the most exciting part of a relationship is the first year, and I'm like, are you kidding? I wish we could skip over the first year altogether. Like, I don't want to deal with the strange hormonal swings. I don't want to deal with this chaotic, excited energy. It's really not fun for me. I feel out of sync when I am in the first year of a relationship, or, in that first, meeting phase, getting to know somebody, all these things. And that's not to say that I don't enjoy getting to know people. I mean, yeah, there is fun in that, and it is kind of cool to explore that kind of excitement and whatnot. But honestly, I don't even know who I am when I'm in a relationship. And that's not to say that I'm like not being genuine or not being me. It's just like, it's kind of like I'm looking at my life from a third party perspective, where I'm just like, I don't know what just happened there. My hormones took over and I was like, whoa, that was weird. If you can only support creators who provide value and make you think, please consider contributing to my Patreon page the next time you watch one of my videos. Hi everybody and welcome. Today I want to talk about law of attraction and kind of how general desire works with that. So on a couple occasions I've talked about how when you want something in your life, usually it's because you're looking for the emotion that you believe that specific thing will cause. For example, for me, money, I want money, but largely because I want the feeling of freedom that I associate with having money. And it's the freedom that I'm really seeking. Money is just the avenue in which I plan on finding it. So I want the general feeling more than I want the specific thing. And I think in most circumstances, this is actually true for most of us. But even if it isn't, it's often better to have kind of a general desire, or to have a soft openness or acceptance, so that whatever it is you want can flow easily into your life. And the reason for this is actually something that is discussed in the book Reality Transurfing. I've mentioned this book as well. It's a little difficult to understand at times, and personally, I'm probably going to have to go back to this book over and over and over again. It's very interesting, though, and, so that's why it works for me. If you're not interested in learning about metaphysics and stuff, though, then you probably wouldn't find it all that great. But essentially, what the author of that discusses is this concept of decreasing importance, where if you really want something, you have to kind of decrease the importance to where it's just kind of, this would be fun, I would enjoy having this, rather than I absolutely have to have this or my life will be over kind of thing. I know that a lot of law of attraction experts say that, if you should really want something, you should really go with the desire. The more you want it, the faster it'll come, things like that. But I've found that that is not true at all. In fact, the more that you want it, the more chaotic your energy tends to be, which means that it's less focused and your drawing potential is decreased exponentially. For example, you really want something, so you keep going, well, I really want this, and imagine how amazing my life will be once I have it, and all these other things. So you're putting a really intense positive focus on it. But I have yet to meet somebody who doesn't also go, but what if I don't get it? What happens if I don't end up with what I want? And this is where the chaotic energy comes from. The more you want something, the more likely you are to doubt that it will come to you. And this is why law of attraction is so challenging for a lot of us. We focus on what we want, but as we increase the focus on the desire, the doubt starts to accumulate as well. The potential negatives start to feel worse and worse and worse, versus when you just kind of want something, you're like, yeah, that would be fun. Like winning PCH lottery. I'm like, hey, that would be cool. I'm not expecting it, but it would be cool. So that's more of a general desire. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to get it, because, my energy around money is a bit chaotic still. So, it's not shocking that I haven't quite figured out that avenue of my life. But something like that, where it's just kind of a general, hey, that would be kind of fun. Similarly with romantic relationships, I'm not particularly drawn to romantic relationships. I don't have any particular, strong desire to be in a relationship. for me, a relationship is kind of like, yeah, that could be cool. That could be fun. I like having company, things like that. So it's kind of a general thing where it's like, yeah, I would enjoy getting to express and experience love in a romantic capacity. But that means that I just get to have fun with it in the moment. So whether it comes or not, I'm still enjoying it. I'm still kind of thrilling in the idea, and the reality of it doesn't actually need to manifest in order for me to feel good. And this is kind of where law of attraction is challenging for a lot of us. And if you've watched any of Teal Swan's work, she discusses this too, where pretty much anybody who knows about the law of attraction and follows it and sees how it's potentially useful, eventually they reach the point where they're like, oh, I hate law of attraction. Because it requires so much focus on your part. It requires you to be like constantly on alert, constantly refocusing your energies. You have to be aware all the time if you're in a positive or negative state of mind, and you have to decrease the importance so often. You have to like decrease the importance of something, and it's not always fun. It's a lot of work involved in the law of attraction. And then, of course, like attracts like. So if you're in a negative state of mind, you get negative results. And if you're in a positive state of mind, you get positive results. And realistically, it's kind of annoying because you get what you think about. And I don't want to have to be in control of my life that much. And I think that's where a lot of us are, is we're like, I don't want to have to be like constantly on red alert. And it's not necessarily red alert, but it is, like you constantly need to be at least slightly aware of what's going on within your head and within your body and your heart and all these things, and focus on the synchronicity and resonance, and it's really annoying. In a humorous way, though. I mean, obviously I'm laughing, so yeah. So when it comes to desire, it's really a good idea just to be kind of general and be like, yeah, I think that would be fun. I would enjoy that. Rather than, I absolutely have to have this. Like, this would be amazing for my life, and oh my gosh, I would die, like from pure joy and excitement. Those kinds of strong-fisted emotions, I guess is how I would describe that. They really just hold you back more than anything else, because kind of like with money, if you hold on to it with a tight fist, not only can money not go out, but it can also not come in anymore because you're holding too tightly. You won't allow money in, and you won't allow money out. And that's why an open hand policy is considered a good idea. Of course, for an open hand policy, you need to have a lot of trust that money will both come in and go out at the same time. Not that it's constantly leaving your hand and that you'll end up with nothing. You have to kind of trust that there will always be more coming in. And I know that that is not easy. Trust is not always the easy thing, particularly when it comes to the universe, because you can't speak directly to the universe and know that it understands you. I'm sure some of you are like, well, I don't believe the universe is an entity, like a conscious entity anyway, so, why would I talk to the universe? And, whatever your belief system is, cool, you can do whatever you want. If you believe in the law of attraction, though, this could be a potentially helpful video for you. But yes, the general emotion, the general desire leads you a lot faster to the things that you want. And I think the reason for this is because you're actually reaching a higher emotional state when you're in the general feeling rather than in the specifics, because specifics seem to only go so far. And I remember seeing on an emotional scale at one point that peacefulness is above excitement. And I remember before where I was like, okay, so peacefulness is kind of like happiness. And it would be below excitement, because excitement is like a really active energy. But actually, when I saw this whole peacefulness being above excitement, I was like, that actually makes sense now. And I'm not sure it would have made sense had I seen that originally. But I live most of my life in kind of a peaceful, restful state. I flow to the things that I want to do. I tend to live in kind of a flow state, in sync and all these things, which is really nice. I mean, I really enjoy that feeling of being in the flow and, just kind of moving gently through life and whatnot. And whenever I get excited about something, it always feels chaotic to me, like I'm going slightly insane. And maybe you guys can relate to this. But that suggests to me, now that I've lived a long time in kind of a peaceful state, that excitement is kind of a lower rung than peacefulness, because it is chaotic and kind of frayed, versus peacefulness just feels in harmony. It just feels restful. It feels peaceful. It feels like you're fully connected and all these things, which is actually a lot more energizing, I think, because now my energy is in tune with my body. You know, it's working with me. And excitement kind of feels like I'm fighting this intense energy battle or whatever. And I think that's the reason why when a lot of people say, well, the most exciting part of a relationship is the first year, and I'm like, are you kidding? I wish we could skip over the first year altogether. Like, I don't want to deal with the strange hormonal swings. I don't want to deal with this chaotic, excited energy. It's really not fun for me. You know, I feel out of sync when I am in the first year of a relationship, or, you know, in that first, you know, meeting phase, getting to know somebody, all these things. And that's not to say that I don't enjoy getting to know people. I mean, yeah, there is fun in that, and it is kind of cool to explore that kind of excitement and whatnot. But honestly, I don't even know who I am when I'm in a relationship. And that's not to say that I'm like not being genuine or not being me. It's just like, it's kind of like I'm looking at my life from a third party perspective, where I'm just like, I don't know what just happened there. You know, my hormones took over and I was like, whoa, that was weird. So, you know, it's really hard for me to determine what exactly happens when I'm in the first phases of a relationship. And honestly, I would rather just not go through that first phase of a relationship, which might be why I don't date very much. And why I've never really had a long-term boyfriend or anything like that. I'm much better with friends because there's no pressure there. There's just enjoying company. Which is probably why it would work better for me to have a friend first and then transition into romance rather than romance first. Because, that is just a whole brain melting experience that is just not all that fun for me. Which I'm sure a lot of you are like, well, that's really funny because I enjoy that, and you should. I mean, if you are living in a negative state in particular, that's going to feel amazing. I think, though, that a lot of people, if they're living in a peaceful state, they much prefer the kind of stable, steady relationship, that kind of like 10-year mark or whatever, where you're like, okay, now we know each other, we're in tune, you know, we're living our own lives, but we're coming together and we're enjoying each other's company. And that kind of feeling can come at any point in time. That's kind of what a friendship is, you know, that kind of steady, non-chaotic connectivity. So, I mean, I think a lot of people, once you've reached a high enough phase, you're like, no, I'd rather just go easy. I'd rather just be at home and comfortable and, you know, at rest and at ease and enjoying your company rather than thinking about, oh, what is he thinking about me? What is he gonna call? Is he gonna text? Blah, 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 blah. And I've been there. I've been in that state of mind where you're like, oh my gosh, is he gonna text? Is he gonna text me back? When is he gonna text me back? All these things. And I hate that. I hate that obsessive feeling. It's really not fun for me. So, you know, I suppose everybody's journey is different. But personally, I definitely like to stick with the peaceful, restful kind of state. And I've found that when it comes to my own life and the kinds of things that I want to see in my life, it usually works a lot better when I'm just peaceful about it, when I'm just allowing life to happen rather than trying to force it. And I think that's where law of attraction is challenging for a lot of people, is we like to think that we can force it. You know, if you put enough oomph behind your desire, it will inevitably come to you. And from my experience, the more you try to push it forward, the more resistance you're actually creating. So you're actually slowing it down, which means that when you let go and you go, it'll come or it won't, then more likely it is to come because you no longer have put up resistance. You've cleared the path and the train can make its way to you at whatever pace it is going to, and probably at a much faster pace than it was initially because you took out all of the walls that had been built up in front of it, or took off some of the trains, pulling it in the other direction. So, yeah, definitely I recommend focusing on the general desire. I know that this may be counterintuitive, and I know that you probably don't like this concept because it means you have less direct control over your life situation. And for a lot of people, control is a really important thing to them. I know that quite a few people in my life, they have a strong desire for control. Personally, I think that if you have a strong desire for control of the external world, that usually means that your internal world is a little bit chaotic, which is why I recommend things like meditation, where you're trying to bring your internal world into kind of a steady space. And then you no longer really feel the need to control other people because you're like, hey, I'm completely at ease. And honestly, I think that's what most of us are looking for. We're looking for peace. We're looking for ease. We're looking for happiness. You know, we want freedom. We don't want to be held down. So it really all comes down to just allowing life to thrill you. You know, like everything good will come to you as long as you just trust in the universe and that things will happen. And that's not to say that you shouldn't do anything, but more than likely that activities will present themselves to you rather than you actively looking for them. You know, like you have a desire to go and do a specific task rather than going, oh, I have to go and do this. It's an entirely different energy. Same activity, but an entirely different approach to it. And this is also a concept that's a little bit challenging for some people in the law of attraction. I do think this is probably where I should end the video for today. So I hope that you learned something. I definitely encourage you to be a little more general in your desires. I encourage you to decrease importance, kind of like this Transurfing Reality book describes. And, you know, just allow life to be fun. This is one of the ways where simulation theory is helpful. It really helps you look at the world kind of like a game, and I think that might be a really good perspective to have as far as manifestation goes. So, that's all. I won't keep carrying on. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to click the like button, subscribe, click the notification bell, and if you have any questions, are confused, or have video ideas or subjects that you want me to cover, definitely leave those in the comments, and I will do my best to respond or reciprocate or create in accordance with your wants. And yeah, thanks for watching. I hope to see you again soon. Bye.